May 6, 2025. This is the S&P 500 E-futures mini on a 2000 tick chart using NinjaTrader 8. This was what the chart looked like today. It was very choppy. It started off and was pretty much low volume for most of the day. Then President Trump, I think, had a press conference or meeting with the new leader of Canada, I think like Mark Carney or something. And he released some information. He talked about tariffs, just talked about in general, just everything that's going on, saying big deals are going to be made. And even though I checked Forex Factory, there was no economic data today to cause any weird spikes. There were some really big knee-jerk spiky moves, and it did kind of coincide with what President Trump was saying, or just news coming out of his administration. One of the trades I actually took, well, the only trade I actually took, I got stopped out on this crazy flush, and I didn't get to it. And overall, I didn't see too many setups, and it was kind of I would say it was kind of a tricky day, mainly because of there was a lot of inside bars for the signal bars, and the news just was coming out at weird times. So I'm gonna get into the trades right now. So I took one trade, and unfortunately, I lost. Pre-market, there was a gap down from yesterday's close, just flushed down. This is the low of day from yesterday. Closed and then a gap down. So I anticipated a close of that gap, and it did close the gap later, but it kind of meandered around, and it was just some kind of funky price action. So pre-market, it's just chopping. It looks like it was moving down on this yellow down channel, break, test the low. I later found this big channel. It initially started as a potential trend line, and then I later joined it up here, but it kind of sets up for the first trade that I saw. So it's testing the pre-market lows. On the open, it actually makes a new low of day, pushes up on this green up channel, break, test the high. So what I saw here, and it sets up for my one and only trade, there was a new high. It's a first entry long pullback. Here, it looks like it's about to create a second entry long. So I actually saw this as a potential triple test as one touch, two touch, three touch. I like that it's touching against this EMA. Break of the green up channel did test the high already. So I was thinking it's like a break, pullback, and potentially a second push up. I like the signal bar. I was thinking I was in a trading range and there's enough room to the highs. So I entered my trade right here, right at the highs of this. And this is what happened. This candle, if you look between this candle and this candle, is only 2 seconds. So when I entered, it was doing something. It was kind of pushing its way up. I was hoping to get out and move one tick right before my exit. Then it flushed down so strongly on news that I couldn't find out if there was any news. So my stop is actually below, one tick below this guy. And as you can see, it turns out to be, I lost like about 1 point of slippage. This happens so incredibly fast. I don't know exactly what happened. So this is kind of like if the trade was incorrect or the setup is incorrect, I would have been okay if the slippage wasn't this severe. Plus, I was very careful to watch if there's any news item that came out, and there was none. So this one really kind of, it was getting close to triggering me because I felt very frustrated by seeing this because I had something similar happen yesterday. Yesterday's trade, I also took a losing trade. And this one just flushed down so quickly and such rapid fashion, I didn't even know what happened. So seeing that, I was thinking, okay, I got to get this trade back. I want to get my money back. But I also knew I needed to follow my rules, which is, clearly stated I need to calm down, wait for the right setup, especially after a loss. Price then continue pushing down on this orange down channel, breaks, tests the low, makes a new low of day, continues down. I'm thinking the down channel has played out. At this point, I join this trend line, touch one, touch two, touch three. I tweaked it just slightly, and then I also had a touch on the high side. So it looks like I'm pushing down on this shallow down channel, pushes up. So I see a first entry short. I'm looking for another rejection off the EMA. Ideally, break of this green up channel, test the high, and then close below the EMA and sets up for a nice second entry short. It doesn't do that. You do technically have a second entry short here, but this is the one of many inside bars that you're going to see today. The inside bars, I didn't really like that, so I just saw as a visual first entry short, pull back, potential visual second entry short. Second entry short, this is also an inside bar. I thought this might have been a possible trade because it's coming from a bounce off the bottom of this bigger shallow down channel. So it's rejected. I'm thinking it's going to move back up to test the high. It's a visual first entry short, pullback, second entry short, confirmed failure right here. And it did bounce off the EMA. So I thought this might have been a possible trade, but I wasn't quick on it. Goes back down. Then it gives you a better setup. It's a higher low. So it's a visual first entry, second entry, pullback, triple test, one touch, two touch, three touch, higher low. It did break out of the trading range already, and there's enough room to get out before you get a potential resistance here. But it did feel a little aggressive, so I left it alone. Then prices continue climbing up, pushes up to the high. It's pushing inside this yellow up channel. No clean second entries that I could see. You have a first entry long pullback. So I saw this as a potential triple test, visual first entry, technical second entry, and then it's not really a second entry short failure, but I saw, excuse me, second entry long, first entry long pullback, second entry long. Technically, I wanted this to close like this did, but make a matching high or at least higher. But I thought it was a potential triple test because it looks like there's some kind of resistance here. Break of this yellow up channel probably wants to test the high, but again, I also felt it might have been a little aggressive. Pushes up, continues, tests and makes a high of this yellow up channel. Kind of moves sideways. It's a new high. It's a first entry long pullback, second entry long. Not the best signal bar. I'm not a fan of this. I'm looking for a higher low now. Pushes up, and you don't really get a higher low. If there was a higher low that shows up at this point, it's too far from the setup to really consider the higher low as part of anything. Creates a new localized high, not new high of day, because the high of day is here. Creates a new high, first entry long, pull back. It creates a hidden second entry long and a bounce triple test or multiple test off this support area. So it is a first entry long pullback. This same candle pushes down and pushes back up. So this is the first entry long on the same candle. It creates a second entry long that's hidden, but I didn't really like it. It closed right at the EMA. EMA ideally would have shown a little bit more strength, but since the break, you already had one, two, three, pretty much four candles close below it. So it's telling me the EMA isn't the strongest as support, and it could still act as a resistance, so I left it alone. Prices then continue moving up. You have a new low here, technically a first entry short, second entry short, but I saw this as a localized low. First entry short, pullback, second entry short. Not a good signal bar to go short on. Prices then continue moving. Technically, you have a localized high, first entry long pullback. You could say there's a second entry long here per the count, but I don't like that the EMA is just kind of cutting through all the price action at this point. So it's not really reliable as a support or resistance. You have a new high, first entry long pullback, creates the second entry long. I actually think this second entry long is a possible trade because I like that it's a visual one leg up, pullback, second leg, break of this green down channel is tested low. This is a nice engulfing trigger bar. So this is your signal bar. It's not the best, but the follow-up candle moved one tick below, then reverse strongly up and close above the high, engulfing this completely with enough room from here to the top of this range. But initially I was playing this range, so I wasn't sure if this is a breakout, one attempt, two attempt, and it's always a little more, you have to be a little more cautious after a breakout to take a second entry in the same direction of where the trend was, because it could be a trap and needs to come down to here prior to moving back up or create a corresponding breakout on this low side. So I was considering that, but I thought it was probably a decent trade, but I didn't want to take it. Pushes up, it would have worked, then flushes down. At this point, that's when I drew this because it actually makes it a better match. And I thought, okay, there was probably no breakout here. This would have been a better trade, but the way I had it drawn, I couldn't justify the trade or feel comfortable. First entry long pullback, technically a second entry long here. Break, it is below the EMA, below or just maybe moving back into this orange up channel, but it's not the best signal bar. I wanted a higher low, but you don't get one. Prices then continue. Looks like it's kind of moving down this loose looking red down channel. It's a new low here. It's a first entry short, second entry short. It's not the best setup. It's a little congested. It feels congested. Prices then continue moving up. Flushes up high. I'm not exactly sure, but I think there was some kind of news announcement or something Trump said or administration. It's just very, very whippy today because you don't know when this big bar is going to show up. It does a whole bunch of strange things. This big bar shows up, and it was just made for kind of hard, not the easiest trading. The prices move down. Say first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long here, but this just looks like one leg first entry. Then continues back down, bounces. It hits this kind of this phantom support area. So I was thinking at one time, is this some kind of range where this could be the bottom of the range, but the top of the range never really quite fit super well. And what I mean by that is I tried to find a corresponding high of the range, but it doesn't look like it fits anywhere. So all I could say is for sure, it looks like some kind of reaction off this support. Bounces, no clean second entries. It is a new low. Technically, there's a low, one tick below here. It's like a first entry, but I also saw this as localized. First entry short, pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short. This isn't a good signal bar. It's an inside bar of this. The trigger bar follow through is nice, but then it flushes back up. So I'm not really thinking of taking any trades here. Gets a little congested, a little confusing, breaks down, continues downwards. And I thought, okay, I see one very clean, distinct leg here. And then I drew a second one here, thinking it's going to touch the lows. So it's a new high. It's a first entry long. Technically, you have a second entry long right here, but it's not really anywhere. It just feels like you're not going to take a long here. It's bad signal bar, far from the EMA. You might this if it was a range, then you could justify saying maybe it's going to break in back into range. But this is just some kind of support that prices took a bounce off of, but not really enough to justify, using as a key entry point just yet. Prices break out of the orange down channel, test the low, makes another push down. It's just getting noisy. Hard for me to really tell what's going on. It's a new low here. It's a first entry short pullback. Technically, you have a second entry short right here, but I saw it as a visual first entry push up, second entry. But this isn't a good signal bar to go short on. Plus, it closed above the EMA. The follow through trigger bar broke through the EMA, then closed back up high. And then you don't get a lower high. You just kind of get another higher high. So it's just confusing for me. I'm sitting on my hands. Then you got another inside bar here. So seeing this in real time, I'm not thinking going short. I'm not thinking of going long. I'm just kind of not smart enough to really know what's going on. So I'm sitting, pushes down. It's a new low here. It's a first entry, and that's all you get. And it continues moving downwards. Here finally makes the measured move. So I was thinking, okay, made two legs down, although not the cleanest. On a higher time frame, like a 10,000 tick chart, it looks a little cleaner. It's one leg down, looks like two small legs up, another leg down. But just saying it made a measured move, justifying a long trade isn't enough. I need a key entry point. Plus, overall bias right now is bearish. So I'm not thinking of going long, but I'm also not thinking of going short because the measured move has been made. It kind of confirms a second bounce. It's just chopping. So it's a new low. It's a first entry short. I draw this loose looking channel because it looks like it kind of fits, but I'm not the biggest fan, so I don't trust it as any positions for key entry points. So say first entry short, pull back. You have a second entry short above the EMA though, and not the best signal bar. So I'm not thinking of going short here. Then it kind of pushes up and pushes down. I didn't mark it, but I saw this in real time. I saw this first entry short pullback, second entry short, lower high, pushed and just broke through this developing range, potentially breaking back into this larger down channel, but I'm not 100% sure what's going on. It did engulf this guy, so it looks like a first entry, second entry long failure, new low, first entry short, second entry short with a lower high. So actually I should have marked it. In hindsight, after talking through it a little bit more, it feels like this might have actually been a decent trade because failed second entry long and lower high confirming the second entry short. So I take it back. This is probably a good trade, but I think in real time, and when I did my review, I don't think I thought about it too much. I was wondering if it's going to continue after the breakthrough this trading range. And it does. So actually, this might have been a decent trade, but it never triggers because the prudent thing, I think this trade probably would have gotten me trapped because after seeing this, most likely after seeing the close, I would have put my entry one tick below this guy to save a few ticks. Looks like it would have opened here. I forgot if it pushed up first or pushed down. Nevertheless, I probably would have gotten filled, be in this trade, and then this trade, because my stop would actually be up here, one of these two candles would have stopped me out. Now, the proper entry, I think, and I'm still working on it because I'm always trying to save some ticks, is after seeing this close, the entry would be one tick below this guy. And if I'd done that, this would never have triggered, and it would have, after seeing this close, I would have canceled the order and then pushed back up. But I suspect if I took this trade, it would have been one tick below here, and it would have been a losing trade. Then prices continue moving up, kind of moves sideways, creates this new high, say first entry long pullback, second entry long, second entry long. I didn't really mark it as a possible trade just because it's an inside bar to this one. So it never broke below and it kind of closed matching. If it closed at the high or at least breached this by one tick, or ideally moved one tick below and pushed back up, it looks like a failed breakout and pushed back in, then I think I would have marked it as an actual trade. But since it fell short, I just kind of left it alone. Pushes back up, first entry long, second entry long here, bad signal bar, new low, first entry short, pull back. You technically have a second entry short, but this isn't a good signal bar to go short on. Pushes up to the high, creates a new high, and it's like a first entry long pullback, second entry long, not a good signal bar to go long on, and it just kind of pushes into the close. So it was kind of a strange, whippy day, and I wondered whatever happened to this caused me to have so much slippage, and ideally, I'm not sure. I think I might have tried to take this trade again in if it was to come up. But in hindsight, I do see a potential down channel coming in because it only really confirms 2 times. And you could say maybe it confirms 3 times here. So I'd like to think I'd be smart enough to realize I'm running into this resistance and probably skip this. But in all honesty, I probably would have tried to take this trade again if if this played out differently. I want to know if this, would have been a still winning trade, or if I would have lost, but lost a little bit smaller than this gigantic slippage. So kind of how I saw the charts today. Another losing day. Hopefully tomorrow. Well, tomorrow I think is FOMC meeting rate decision day, so it's going to be very crazy. A few announcements coming out, and then the press conference. And we never know if Trump's going to react negatively and tweet something to cause, or just announce something and cause more crazy volatility. But I anticipate the volume to be a lot higher tomorrow and probably a lot more choppy. So hopefully that was helpful.